You see, this one is a very important one. Maybe then you will continue from there. This
Yeah,
is
fine.
what I'm saying, that we need to be clear of the kind of country that we want. No, I know this is a radical operation that I'm talking about here. That if maybe like the ex premier of the North was saying that we are going to be one Nigeria and keep our differences, that is a
Mhm.
recipe for disaster. I'm not saying we are going to abolish everything that we had before in the name of Hausa, Igbo, Ibibio, or the 510 different ethnic group that we had in Nigeria. What I am saying is that Nigeria, if it had to function, must function with one language, one identity, one single objective. If it is not like that, then it is never going to work. What are my examples? Look at every other country in the world. I live in Italy. Up until the 1800, were a lot of languages that they speak here in Italy.
Yeah.
But today, everybody speaks Italian. Italian is a language that was adopted from one of of course, one of the languages that was used to write by Alessandra Massoni. So they say, okay, it's a beautiful language. Everybody use it. It doesn't mean that everybody understood this language, but it became the official language. Now, every other part of Italy, from north to south, east to west, they all have their own language, but those languages, they were not abolished, but they became what they call dialect. You can still speak it, but it doesn't appear in official language.
Mm.
The same thing can happen in France, in Germany, in any other part of the world. It just simply say that as human beings, we do evolve, all of us. So in Nigeria, the Igbo are going to make sacrifice. The Yorubas are going to make sacrifice. The Ibibio are going to make sacrifice. The Edo are going to make sacrifice. We are going to pick only one language, or we are going to invent our language. I know this one might be harsh for somebody, but yes, I said that. We are going to invent a language if we cannot find anyone for the thousands of languages in this world, but we keep that one, only that one. It will be spoken in the military, in the religion, in education, everywhere. Every Nigerian must speak only that language in the official document. In a period of 10, 15, 20 years, it will be difficult for you to create an ethnic line for distraction.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Yeah. So that was actually a very lovely position. And I have also thought in that direction because until we're ready to make sacrifices to do the needful and leave all of these biases, because what I've seen in this election is we create more and more biases, we create more and more lines, more divisions. Before it used to be very simple. You're a Christian or you're a pagan. Now it's worse. They say, and this one is a mami water, this one is juju, this one is okite. They keep making these distinctions. The Christians are not Christians anymore. You are Catholic, Anglican, or Pentecostal, or there are all sorts of things. Currently in all the different states, I told you what's happening in Lagos with the governorship elections, and then in Enugu it's even worse because now we're all Igbo people, and then even though we migrate a lot, we have a history of like, yeah, if you're an Enugu man, you're an Enugu man. But I say, this one's great great grandfather. They've brought up the story of, okay, this guy's great great grandfather came from Ebonyi State, therefore he's not fit to be governor of Enugu, right? And then we've had all of these divisions and stuff. They say, these ones are Ankano, this one is Udio, this one is Enugu, this one is Onsoka, this one is issues. So they just keep creating more and more divisions, and we've never been this polarized ever at any point in our history. And until we begin to think, and I'm like, in a developed country, who cares where the governor comes from? What we should be looking at is, can he get the job done? Is he going to listen to the people? Because then I tell our people all the time, where the reason we're not developing, because how many policies have you contributed to? How many times have you taken out of your precious time to go see what the legislators are doing? How many times have you written your legislator to say, see, we want this policy, give us this law. We want to be able to do this. We can't accept this from the government. How many times have you gone to court to sue the government? Say, man, you guys are doing this stuff we think is wrong. And then you embarrass the government because this is what they do in developed climes and they keep their government in check. But in our case, people are not willing to make that sacrifice because that identity as a Nigerian is truly lacking. Without a sense of history, without a sense of civic education, people will continue to exist on. In fact, we're just there on an existential level. We're like, okay, you know what? We're here, and I say, let's just pray. God will provide. And so the government isn't making any conscious efforts because they are either very clueless or whoever has installed them there does not want them to think in that direction, and people are not ready to nudge them in the right direction. So we are more divided than ever, and it's going to get worse. After these elections have happened, it's going to get worse because then young people can't work together for anything. We don't have like any group of Nigerians who are working for change that have not already been split along several political lines. And I think that is really terrible because we're like a people in a pit and we're still digging, hoping that at some point we'll dig ourselves out. Which I think it's a total waste of time. And so like personally, something I'm going to be doing, because I mean like Nnamdi Azikiwe did this a lot. He did a lot to sensitize the people through his writings. He kept trying to teach our people, man, you have to come out and vote, you have to participate, you have to speak up. He gave them a voice through his platforms. And that way, the government were on their toes. They knew that, man, this guy is going to write something crazy next. And then they knew the world was watching because there were people holding them accountable. And so, one of the advocacies I'm doing right now is I tell people, irrespective of who wins the election, we must all commit to holding them accountable. And you know what our people say to me? They said, you can't hold these people accountable, though. I said, no, you can hold anybody accountable. Anyone can be held accountable. It may not look nice, it may not be easy, but it can be done. And one thing I know is if you scream loud enough, somebody is going to hear. And thank God for social media. You can make tweets or send out posts, and you never can tell, how far it's going to go and who's going to get their eyeballs on it. So uh, I really think that this national cohesion that we lack was a great challenge to the Zik of Africa and is still a challenge till today. You know, because this mindset that we have as a people where we're still too religious and we're praying and hoping that God, every now and then people are coming up with new prayers. Like, let's pray for Nigeria. Let's pray for, and I'm like, no, if you want to pray, pray. But no, I'm not praying. Let's work for a new Nigeria. That I think is what we need. God is not going to say, God, have mercy on us. And I always tell them, God is not going to have mercy on you. That's not what He does. He gave you a brain for a reason. Use it. Don't sit around and hope there is a God that is going to come and then kill all the Hausa people or kill the Fulani people or kill the Yoruba people so that you can live freely. Or like they say, let's divide this country. I'm like, look at the state we live in. Look at the Igbo people who exist in this space and tell me if we cut away from the rest of Nigeria, if we're going to be fine. We know we're not. We have a leadership problem, and prayers won't fix it. Biafra won't fix it. Oduduwa Republic will not fix it. The only thing that's going to fix it is when the people rise up, become active citizens, and begin to engage with the government. And I think that is one thing I've learned from Zik, and that is one thing I think I'm going to want to do. Going forward, use whatever platforms I have to speak to government about what I think they should do, and then try to hold them accountable. Because um, even if initially they don't listen, at some point they will be forced to.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much.